In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a repeating flower pattern that you can apply to an object using Adobe Illustrator. I got the idea from this website. It's called Toots Plus, and I just looked through the different tutorials and I liked this one, and so I did it and mostly followed it but changed things a little bit. So let's take a look at Illustrator. You can see that this is the pattern that I created. I applied it to this iPhone cover, and you can see I scaled it down a little bit so that the size fit a little bit better for the object. And over here in my scratch area is where I was practicing putting my pattern together so that I didn't have giant gaps where the edges meet together. So this is going to be a two-part video. First, I'm going to show you how to create 5 or so different types of flowers, and then in the next video I'll show you how to turn it into a pattern and how to fill a shape with it. So let's get started. I'm going to make a new document and I'm going to call it Repeating Flower Pattern, and I'm going to choose the landscape orientation and make the size letter and then click OK. Now I have my blank document. So the first thing that I'm going to make is a tulip. I like to add another color palette to the swatches because this is so limited. So one way that you can do that is with the swatches panel open, click this little side menu, go down to Open Swatch Library, and it's called Color Books, and the one I really like a lot is called True Match. So here's True Match, and you can see that there are a million colors. So let's see, I originally chose a nice dusty blue color for my tulip, so I'll go ahead and get blue, and you can see that it added blue here. This has a black stroke, so I don't want it to have a black outline, so I'm going to open this and change it to none. You can see that I can also see what my fill and stroke color are down here in this part of the toolbox, so both places you can change the color. Alright, so I'm going to get the Ellipse Tool, which is grouped together with the Rectangle Tool. I'm going to click and hold and grab the ellipse, and I'm just going to click and drag while I'm holding down Shift so that I make a circle. If you don't like that color, you can go ahead and click on other blues until you find one that you like, or whatever color you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be blue. So as long as the object is selected, you can change the color of it. So I want to make this pointy, and then I'll make 3 of them to be the points of the tulip. So to do that, I'm going to get the Direct Selection tool, which is the white arrow, and I'm going to click only on this top anchor point. Oops, okay, let's try that again. I'm going to click off of it, click only on this top anchor point, and then stretch it up. So I could leave it rounded, or I could convert it to a pointy tip by going to the pen tool and selecting Convert Anchor Point Tool and just clicking that. So it's up to you if you want pointy or you want rounded. I want rounded, so I'm going to undo that, Control Z. Now I'm going to make 3 copies of this. So with the regular selection tool, I'm going to hold down Alt on the keyboard and drag off my 3 copies. So the one on this side, I'm going to rotate it. So there's 2 different ways to rotate. Actually, there's lots of different ways to rotate. I'm going to double click the rotate tool, and I'm going to put in 20 and click preview. So actually I'm going to do -20 and click preview. There, so 20%. I'm going to leave this one straight up and down. I'm going to grab this one with the selection tool, go back and double click rotate, and this one I'm going to make 20%. Great, so now all I have to do is take the move tool and line these up how I think that they will look good. And you can just eyeball it. You can be precise if you want to. So now I'm going to draw a box around all three shapes so that all of them are selected at the same time. And I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool to unite them. The Pathfinder is not one of the default panels over here, so I have to go open it from the window menu. So Pathfinder, it's alphabetical, there it is. And there's several buttons. The one that I want is this first one right here. It's called Unite. So now, instead of being three shapes, that is one single shape. Now, I kind of like how it's scalloped down here at the bottom. You could get rid of those extra anchor points if you want to, or you can leave it bumpy. But I think that kind of makes it look like a real tulip, so I'll leave that there. If you want to get rid of those anchor points, you can click and hold on the pen tool and click delete anchor points tool, and then click it and it's gone, click it and it's gone, and now you have kind of a more I guess unified edge instead of a scalloped edge. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Control Z, Control Z. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to do is create a stem. So just initially I'll choose maybe this green right here. And I'm going to go and change the ellipse tool to the rectangle tool. And I'm going to click and drag a narrow stem on here. And I want it to go underneath the tulip. So on the keyboard, hold down Control and hit the bracket key, which is next to P. And it puts the stem behind it. Now, to make sure that the stem is exactly lined up with the middle of the tulip, with the tulip selected, I'm going to hold down Shift, get the move tool, select both of them, and then right here is horizontal align center. So when I click that, it shifts everything so it's exactly centered. Alright, so now I'm going to draw some leaves. You draw the leaves the exact same way that you drew the petals. So I'm just going to switch the rectangle tool to the ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and draw a circle, maybe that big. I'm going to get the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow. Click off of it, click only the top one, and this time I think I'll make it pointy. So, oh, look, here's a little shortcut. So you can convert the anchor point back and forth between smooth and pointy right here instead of having to use the pen tool. So that's convenient. So I'm going to go with pointy leaves. I'm going to select the selection tool here. I'm going to make it a little smaller and then hover the cursor on the outside until you get the bendy arrow, and then you can rotate it. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to move it maybe a tiny bit closer. You can use the arrow keys. Now, to make a copy of this, what I'm going to do is go to Object, Transform, Reflect, and I'm going to reflect it 90 degrees vertically, and you can click and unclick the preview button so that you can see what that will look like. And instead of clicking OK, I'm going to click Copy. So now I have this little leaf for the other side. I'm going to use my arrow keys to get that where I want it. So there is my tulip. I think this part's a little large. I'm going to shrink it a little. Okay, that's better. I'm going to draw a box around the whole thing. And I'm going to go to Object, Expand, and then Object Group. So now instead of these being 4 separate things, they're all one shape. All right, that's the tulip. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a daisy. We're going to make a daisy by using the Polygon tool. So down here under where the rectangle and the ellipse are located is the polygon. So I'm just going to click one time in this white area, and I'm going to go for a 8-sided polygon, so number 8, and I'll just leave it the size at 50 points and click OK. All right, so I don't want it to be blue, so let's see, a nice dusty yellow. That looks nice. So to make this look like flower petals, I'm going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat, and I'll put this on preview so I can see my changes. And I'm going to go towards Bloat, and I'll just stop where I think it looks good. 76 I like, so I'll click OK. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to Object, Expand Appearance. So when I expand the appearance, you'll notice that the polygon shape goes away, and it changes it more closely into the shape of the flower. Now I'm going to add a center. So let's see. I'm going to grab the Ellipse Tool, hold down Shift, and click and drag a little circle. And I want it to be brown, like it's a little sunflower. So let's see here. Right. There we go. That looks nice. And if I want these to be perfectly centered, I'm going to draw a box around both shapes with the selection tool. And then I'm going to click up here, horizontal align center and vertical align center. So now I know that that brown part is exactly aligned with the yellow part, and it is in fact in the center. Now I am going to go to Object, and I'm going to group those together so that instead of being 2 separate pieces, they are one piece. All right, the next flower that I'm going to make is an aster, similar to the daisy but with a lot more petals. So this one I'm going to make a light pink color. So I'll just grab this color right here. I'm going to get the Polygon tool, and I'm going to make it 20 sides. Leave it at 50 points and click OK. Then, same thing, go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat, and just fool around with it until you like the way it looks. So I'm going to go with about 92. Click OK, and I am going to expand the appearance by going to Object, Expand Appearance. Now I'm going to put a center in that, so I'll switch my polygon to a ellipse, hold down Shift and draw a circle on there, and I think I'll make it dark pink. Yeah, that looks good. Now to make sure that that is lined up exactly in the center, I'm going to draw a box around both objects with the selection tool, and then hit the vertical and horizontal align centers. And then I will group those two together, and I have another flower. All right, next I'm going to make an abstract flower pattern using a slightly different technique. So I'm going to take the Ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold down Shift and drag out a circle, and I'm going to make it purple. kind of a nice lavender color. And I'm going to open the brushes panel, and the brushes is like a little jar with little brushes poking out of it. Then on this side panel right here, I'm going to click New Brush, and I'm going to set it for a new scatter brush. Click OK, and I'm going to leave everything fixed, and I'm going to change it to purple dot. Change the title of it to purple dot, and click OK. So you can see that my brush now shows up over here on the side. So to use that, I'm going to draw a circle, and then I'm simply going to click on my purple dot, and it adds that dot around the edges of my circle. I can see that there's a little funny overlap thing right here, so I'm going to try to fix that by... Alright, not sure how to fix that. So let's see. I'm going to try this. I'm going to make a little bit of a smaller dot. And I'm going to do a new brush, scatter brush, fixed on everything. Purple dot 2. Okay, so let's see if that one, okay, that looks a little better. I like it smaller, but I still have this funny overlapping thing. Well, I'm not sure what the problem with that is, but I am not going to mess around with it right now. So now what I'm going to do is go to Object, Expand Appearance, and there is my abstract flower shape. I make it a little smaller. I'm going to delete this dot because I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to move on to make a little abstract leaf shape. So I'm going to use this same green right here. So I'm going to take the Ellipse Tool, make a circle. Then I'm going to get the eyedropper tool and click this green, and it will automatically add it to my shape. So I'm going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat, and just move this around until I think it looks like a cute little leaf pattern. And you might have to click Preview to see your changes, and then click OK. It's a little bit large, so let's see. I'm going to switch to the Selection tool, hold down Shift and make it a little smaller. There we go, that looks more proportionate. Then go to Object, Expand Appearance. Great. So now I only have one more flower to make, and it's the layered daisy. So using a similar technique, I'm going to grab the Polygon Tool. Let's see, I'm going to make this one orange. So let's see, how about this orange right here? I'm going to click one time, and I'm going to make this a 6-sided polygon. Go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Pucker and Bloat. Set it to whatever I think looks good, about 96. Object, Expand Appearance. Alright, now I'm going to take the Selection tool, hold down Alt, drag off a copy, and I will make this one, can't remember what color I made it. Pink is what I made it. All right. There we go. Hold down Shift, make it smaller. Line it up with the other one. Then the last thing that I need to do is put a little dot in the center. So Ellipse Tool, hold down Shift, drag a little circle, and let's make that orange too. So I'm going to draw a box around all three of those things with the selection tool, and a line vertically and a line horizontally. So now they're all layered on top of each other. And I'm going to group those together. So draw a box around them with the selection tool and go to group. All right, so that is my collection of flowers that I'm going to use. In the next video, I will show you how to create the pattern and put the pattern into an object. So feel free to make other types of flowers if you would like. You don't have to do exactly the same ones that I did. So that's it for now.